Hello and good morning. Today is January 21st, 2026, and you're listening to That's Old News, the daily download making old headlines hot again. I'm your host, Ainsley Harvey, and as always, we're looking at what went down on this day in history, which means we're rewinding it all the way back to 1793, where former King of France, Louis XVI, is executed by guillotine in Paris. After the outbreak of the French Revolution, Louis XVI and his family, including his wife, Marie Antoinette, were dragged to Paris and put on trial for high treason by the newly created French Parliament, aka the Convention Nationale. He was found guilty and on this very day lost his head before a crowd of revolutionaries in what is now the Place de la Concorde in Paris. Jumping forward to 1824, and we have the birth of Stonewall Jackson, who was born on this day in Clarksburg, Virginia. As the Confederate general during the American Civil War, he was a brilliant tactician and key leader of the Confederacy, who was killed after being accidentally shot by one of his own soldiers in 1863. Meanwhile, on this day in 1869, the Mad Monk is born. I am, of course, speaking of Grigory Rasputin, the Russian monk and confidant of Russian Tsar Nicholas II, who was taken into the Romanov family's palaces to heal the young Prince Tsarevich Alexei, who suffered from the royal disease of haemophilia. Rasputin's antics played a key role in the downfall of the Romanov family and the subsequent Russian Revolution, which followed. Happy birthdays are also in order for Christian Dior, who was born on this day in 1905. The illustrious French fashion designer came from a wealthy family involved in fertilizer manufacturing. However, after the death of his mother and the 1929 crash, they were thrown into financial ruin and moved to Provence. Christian was the eldest of his siblings, with his younger sister Catherine later becoming a French resistance hero, inspiring him to start his own fashion label, Christian Dior. Meanwhile, this day in 1921 will always be remembered as the day Hercule Poirot enters the world, with British crime writer Agatha Christie publishing her first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, introducing the titular character. As a pioneer of the crime genre, Christie is the best-selling fiction writer of all time, with over 2 billion copies of her novels sold worldwide. Today is also the day in 1924 that Vladimir Lenin, Russian Marxist revolutionary and Soviet leader, dies of a stroke at age 53. As the founder of the Bolshevik Party, Lenin led the 1917 revolution against the Romanov family and established the world's first communist state. On the complete opposite spectrum, today is also the day that in 1950 George Orwell, British author, dies. Famous for his novels Animal Farm and 1984, Orwell blended insightful social commentary with a fierce opposition to totalitarianism, popularizing terms like Big Brother and doublethink. His works continue to serve as potent warnings against political manipulation today. Jumping forward to 1973, we find actress Jane Fonda marrying activist Tom Hayden. Both keen social activists, the pair were married for 17 years, sharing a son between them. Happy birthday is in order for Emma Bunton, who was born on this day in 1976. As part of the Spice Girls, she's sold over 100 million records globally, making them the highest grossing girl group of all time. Meanwhile, on this day in 1986, a US Air Force B-52 bomber carrying 4 thermonuclear bombs crashed onto the sea ice near Thule Air Base in Greenland after a cabin fire forced the crew to abandon the aircraft. The incident caused widespread radioactive contamination and calls of condemnation around the globe. And that's old news from this day in history. I'm Ainsley Harvey, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.